Matty, great having you on the show, man.
Yep. Pleasure,
First
mate. Pleasure.
podcast, first podcast guest. How are you feeling?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me along, mate. It's keeping busy, which is nice, and looking forward to next year as well. Obviously, with the bookings coming in for next year, so yeah,
Good, man.
all good.
Mate, let's start off. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into magic and...
Yeah, so obviously I'm a magician, as you well know. I've been doing it for 30 years. I was quite a late starter, to be fair. I was 17 when I started.
Wow.
I had lessons for a year from like another magician, and then after that I was sort of self-taught. And then I worked for like an entertainment complex for like 15 years, and I was doing sort of magic at weekends like there, all the like cabaret shows and all the different types of events that we used to have. So I was getting me practicing like in there, and then at the start of I think it was like 2015 or the end of 2015, I started to take it a little bit more seriously and put myself out there a little bit more. And then at the start of 2019, I won 3 awards, which was nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And then I made the decision of July 2019 to give up my day job after 25 years to do it full time as a living. Now, although it wasn't great timing with regards to COVID, it's still been by far the best decision that I ever made. You know, I've not looked back, and hopefully, touch wood, long may it continue. So yeah.
And what was the day job before?
So I worked for a pharmaceutical company.
Okay. Big difference in
A massive
magic.
difference. Yeah, completely different. You know, and it wasn't an easy decision. I enjoyed what I'd done. You know, I did enjoy my job, but something had to give. I either cut down because I was always working and performing, and I was never at home. Didn't really sort of have much of a social life, so something had to give. So it was either cut down on this and stay where I was, or follow my passion, my love, my dream, if you like, to do it full time as a living.
Sorry, mate.
And that's all right. And then just go for it and see what happens. So, and I took that plunge, and yeah, I've never looked back. So.
And that work-life balance now, is that a lot better and a
Oh,
lot
it's
healthier?
far more better. Although, you know, I mean, you know yourself, you know, I don't just perform locally. I sort of travel up and down the country. But I am at home more now, which is nice. So I get to spend a lot more time, obviously, with the family, with my 2 little boys, which
They must
was
love you being a magician.
do you know what? They do. Obviously, my oldest boy, my youngest boy now, he's 4. And he's just started getting into, like, you know, liking the word magic, if you like.
Yeah.
And he'll come up to me and go, "Daddy, that's magic, isn't it? That's magic." And then my eldest boy, who's 6, he's always loved it. So, but to be fair, they don't really come up to me and say, "Dad, can you do a trick? Can you do a trick?" I think, they're not really one for doing that. But no, of course, if they want me to show them something, then of course I will. So,
Mate, that's fantastic. So you said that you were self-taught. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I am 47.
So how...
No, I don't look it. I know I don't look it.
Obviously, as a 17-year-old, I don't know if they had like YouTube and stuff back then, but how were you able to self-teach yourself?
So back then, there was videos. Obviously, the old videotape player, and then you had the DVD players were then starting to come out. You was able to purchase obviously a DVD or a video from like a magic shop, magic dealer, and then on that it would show you a performance of tricks, or you could buy DVDs that showed you how to do the sleight of hand movements, how to control playing cards, etc.
Yeah.
And then it would have like a tutorial on there and take you through step by step on how to do it. But nowadays, obviously, it's a little bit different. Obviously, technology has come on leaps and bounds, as it does now, very, very quickly. You just get like a download now. So anything that you sort of purchased trick-wise, it will come down. It will come with a video link, download link, and then it's exactly the same process. You know, you'll have your performance of it, and then you add your spin to it. You know, I mean, I try not to copy the direct performance, because obviously we've all got our own personalities.
Yeah.
Put our own spin on it, as I said, and then perform it to how you want to deliver that specific trick.
Okay. So during COVID, I obviously tried to teach myself a few little tricks, and obviously you've got to have a lot of passion for what you do, because I tried and I tried and I tried, and it's an epic fail. I could do it when it was just me, but then when I tried showing someone, I'd always drop the coin or drop the cards.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, everyone can do a trick, but not everyone can perform it. you know, in front of people. You
Yeah.
know, there's a big fine line there. And I still remember to this day my very first live performance, which actually was not too far down the road from us in a little theatre. And I think it was around about, I want to say roughly around about 2002. It was around about that kind of time. And I had a little spot in between, like a little cabaret show. And I remember standing behind the curtains before I got introduced. And so my time was to come out in the interval and then just go around the tables. And it was just I can remember standing behind that curtain, and it was one of the most daunting, most nervous things I think I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know, but then once I got out there, done that first trick, and got that reaction, it sort of calmed you down a little bit.
And
The
how
sort of
old were
nerves
you when
like-
you did that?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to.
Do the maths.
Yeah,
22 years
yeah,
ago?
around about that.
It was 25?
We'll go with that. Yeah. But yeah, so it was like once I got that first trick under my belt and like you got that reaction, that sort of seemed to calm your nerves, you know. Yeah, but it was such a great feeling, really great feeling at the end of it, you know.
And do you still get nervous now in like
No,
in certain crowds?
I don't. I get more excitement than anything else.
Yeah.
I think that's because I know what they're going to get, you know. As I said, I've been doing it now for 30 years, so I've been doing it a long time. I'm not saying I don't never get nervous, because there may be the odd time when I might get a little bit sort of itchy feet. I think that's probably more of my cabaret show.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that as often. Because the close-up magic is more of my main forte that I do. But I think, yeah, sometimes when you're walking out on stage, you know you've got to get everyone's attention right from the very, very start. Because if you don't get their attention, or they don't warm to you from really your opening lines or your opening trick that you do, you know that it's going to be a little bit of a battle, you know, as it continues. So I guess that sort of keeps you on your toes a little bit. But from a close-up perspective, no, I just it's like one of the things, you know, you feel like you could do it in your sleep, you know. Where I've been doing it so long.
So on that, obviously, I know you're one of the top magicians in Kent, UK, wherever.
Very kind, thank you.
Has there been any times recently where you've messed up a trick that people know?
No, touch wood. There hasn't been. If anything has gone wrong, it's because a spectator hasn't followed a simple instruction.
Right.
They might have, I don't know, had one too many beers, one too many drinks, or they've misheard what I've said.
Yeah.
But I'm quite lucky that I'm quite a witty person as well, so I can make light of a situation, so I can sort of turn it around, if you like, and just make a little bit of light-hearted banter.
Yeah.
And then I can just smooth over that, and then move on to the next kind of thing, you know, just to take the heat off it, if you like. So it still keeps the entertainment factor there for anyone that's watching at the table or wherever I may be at that moment in time. But I'm under no illusion that because what I do is live every single time, is that, and I'm sure it will happen at some point, that anything can go wrong at any given moment. So
Absolutely. Same for most industries as well,
course,
right?
Of course, yeah, exactly.
But if they don't know, it's all right.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure, you know, it's hard to say, you know, what would you do? Because I don't know what I would do, because I don't know when that's going to happen or at what part of the trick it might go wrong.
Yeah.
It's a case of thinking quick on your feet at that moment in time, and I'd like to think that with my experience is that I would be, if it did ever go wrong, that I would be able to control that situation with ease, you know. So
yeah, I mean, we've worked with a lot of magicians doing the wedding videos, and I've seen a couple of times people, it tends to be the older magician.
Okay.
He's messed up the trick and kind of fumbles the ball a little bit and doesn't really know how to get the ball back on track.
Right.
And it can be very awkward to watch. It's a lot of fun to film, but as obviously the spectator, you sort of lose the crowd quite quickly.
Yeah, I guess. I mean that could be a number of things, you know. Again, not taken away from any other magician, that they might not be experienced in that they might not have been doing it that long. I don't know. They might even be just a hobbyist. You know, they've been booked. They could be like a family friend that's just said, "Oh, I'll come and do it for free." You know. I don't know. But
a videographer that learnt a few tricks in COVID.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, I don't know what, you know. It's hard to know their situation, if you like. But it's the same with all line of works. You know, you've got your good magicians and you've got your poor magicians. You know, it's just it's the same in any sort of line of entertainment or photography. You've got your good photographies and your photographers, and you've got your probably not so good ones. You know, so
what drew you to weddings specifically?
I think it was more of a case of they're very fun to perform at.
Yeah,
You know, everyone's upbeat. It's one of the biggest days of somebody's life, and everyone that attends, 9 times out of 10, everybody is, like I say, really upbeat, excited. You can always, there's a lot of buzz around with weddings, so they're always fun to perform to. There's never any sort of really dull moments, if so to speak, because I
yeah.
think everyone's like pleased for the happy couple. So yeah, they're quite excited to perform it.
So as a videographer, like you said, it's one of their biggest days of their life, and for me, there's a lot of pressure to get everything as spot on as I can. Is there any sort of pressure for a magician going into a wedding to get everything right, especially for the tricks you do for the couple?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, that goes with every sort of performance, really, not just with weddings. You know, I try to perform to the best of my ability every single time I perform. And it doesn't matter whether I'm doing it in your back garden or whether I'm
Yeah.
at a prodigious setting, if so to speak. I still try to maintain that level of performance throughout. You know, so I always want to be on top of my game every single time I perform. So.
Cool. So obviously you do magic, but you also magician host or
Yeah,
magical
magical
host.
host.
What can people expect if they book a magician compared to a magician host?
Well, obviously, with what I obviously, it's a bit like, so the best way for me to describe it, it's a bit like, excuse me, it's a bit like a toastmaster, but I'm not a sort of regimental there. I mean, your toastmasters, some of them are a little bit old school. Um, you know, they're in their sort of their red suits and gloves and a hammer, and they're sort of some of them are, not all of them. They're very sort of like shouty, making the announcements, getting people in with their hammers, bang, bang, bang. But as with everything, time moves on. So my approach is a little bit more light-hearted. You know my personality. It's very banterish,
Yeah.
but you still get the same formalities. So how I work is like after the ceremony, I'll mix and mingle with all the guests, keeping them entertained during the drink reception whilst they're off having the photos done. Then I'll make all the announcements in for the wedding breakfast, and then this is where I start to get a little bit different. So I will say something in the lines of, before I introduce into the room the world's newest couple, I want to introduce to you some special people. Please put your hands together. Go wild for your bridesmaids, Helen, Heather, Stacey, for example. At that point, I would play something like All the Single Ladies.
Yeah.
They all come in, dancing, doing whatever they like. And I call it like the special people of their day, the people that they want to make feel special. So, I mean, I've done this for like grandparents, parents, page boys, flower girls, as I said, bridesmaids, groomsmen, best man, literally anyone that they want. And all the song choices are made by the couple.
Yeah.
So everything that I do is all bespoke and personal to the couple. So they can make it as entertaining as they like or as serious as they like.
Yeah.
So for example, I recently hosted a wedding where the best man was a WWE wrestling fan.
Oh, okay. I thought you was going to say a wrestler.
He might well have been, I don't know. And the groom asked me if I could get hold of John Cena's ring walk. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, not a problem. You know, I can get hold of any song, you know. So obviously there I am making the introductions. So, and then when I introduced him and played his song, his face was a picture because he wasn't expecting it. And there was
Yeah.
a few other people that knew about it, which found it hilarious. But that's what I mean. It just makes it different
Yeah.
and personal to the couple, so they can make it as entertaining as they like or as serious as they like, as long as they keep the songs upbeat. Because obviously I'm going to get everyone sort of revved up at that moment
Yeah.
and excited, build the energy in the room, ready for all the big entrances. Then once the couple have then come in and then they've sat down, I then play some background music of their choice. Now we've all got different types of music that we like. So again, going back to what I just said, I like to make it a little bit more bespoke. It's not like a generic playlist that a wedding venue would play for every single wedding.
Yeah.
So they get their own choice of music. Then I would then go around, perform magic at the tables, at every single table, a different set of tricks to what they see during the drinks reception.
Yeah.
Then prior to introducing the speeches, I do like a little 10-minute show to everybody, which is quite a little bit, it involves quite a bit of banter.
Yeah.
So it gets everyone sort of like laughing and sort of relaxes really certain individuals leading up to the speeches, because I know what it's like when you've got to stand there with a microphone in your hand for the very first time.
Very awkward.
You can feel very awkward. It's uncomfortable and very nerve-wracking as well. So I get that. So I try to make it a little bit fun, you know, just to take their mind off it just a little bit when I do my little show for everyone. Then I introduce the speeches. And then after the speeches, that would be where like my half-day host and entertainment package would sort of finish.
Yeah.
And then I offer a full day, which would then carry on. And then they've got the option of playing like a couples game. So something like maybe like the wedding shoe game. I'm sure. Have you
Like
seen
the
that?
Mr. and Mrs. game.
Yeah, that's it, like the Mr.
Yeah.
and Mrs. game kind of thing. And so I basically, obviously, sit them back to back. They can have they take one another's shoe and just pluck in just a quick question at the air. It would be something like something simple like who's the best cook, you know, and then whoever they think was the best cook, they would put their shoe up, you know, and always chuck in a few funnies, you know, just so it just makes it a little bit entertaining for the guests. And then once that's then done, they've got the option. Then I obviously do the cake cutting, introduce the first dance. Then once I've introduced the first dance, that's where my full day host and entertainment package would finish. So yeah, that's the sort of the generic magical hosting side of it. You know, if they want to do it,
There's a lot more than just like coming out for an hour and doing a few tricks and then leaving. It's a full experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally there for the whole day, more or less. You know, I'll be there like a good hour or two before the ceremony, getting set up, making sure everything's ready. Obviously, you've got all the face-to-face meetings to plan their day, seeing what they want and what they would like or what they don't like. So yeah, there is a whole. There's a lot involved. It's not just a case of me just turning up and just winging it. You know, we do have several meetings planning it all.
You need to get to know the couple.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. So what's the most rewarding part of performing weddings compared to corporate events?
I think the most rewarding part for me is when they tell me that you was the highlight of the day. There's no better accolade for that for me. You know, when you performed at somebody. I mean, I've had literally just before coming here today, I performed at a wedding yesterday, and I think it was the auntie of the bride. She gave me a little review on Trustpilot.
Yeah.
And she basically, her opening words were like, "Wow, you stole the show yesterday," you know, and it's just great. And when the happy couple as well are telling you that, you know, you was the best money well spent that, you know, that we could have had for our day. You was the talk of the night. When you left, people were still talking about you all night. You was the talk over breakfast the following morning. You know, there's just no better feeling than that, knowing that, you know, for one of the biggest days of their life, and you've made them feel like that. It is very, very rewarding. Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, we did put out onto Instagram for people to ask questions or leave feedback, and we got a couple of silly comments back, which made you feel really good. I think we spoke about it already. But I did look at a few of your reviews today on the lead up to this, and there was one part of Guy's review that's jumped out to me, which was you completely changed his mind on magicians. That's got to be a really nice feeling for you.
Yeah, it is, you know, and I get it a lot, if I'm being honest, you know, even at wedding fairs. The wedding fair that we was both recently at the Detlin Showground, twice during the day, I had couples walk past and say, "No, we're not interested," you know, and I'm like, "Well, just give me 30 seconds of your time."
Yeah.
And then within that 30 seconds, you know, to be able to change someone's perspective in that short amount of time, you know, I guess it's a testament to my ability on what I can actually do. And when they're saying to you, like, you know, we was never going to have a magician, you know, we didn't want a magician, and that could be one of two things, you know. And one of the couple said that they had an experience in the past with another magician where he wasn't very good and they could see everything he was doing, and it's like, you know, and I get it, I totally get it, but, you know, don't judge us all by the same cover, if you like. Because as I said earlier, you know, there are some good magicians out there and there are some poor magicians out there. But yeah, to be able to change somebody's perspective, that is, it's fantastic. To be fair, yeah, it is.
It's a really nice feeling as a wedding vendor. To be fair, you hit on it a few things there about people not wanting a magician or not thinking about a magician, and we get the same as videographers, and because obviously our job isn't just to film things or make magic. We're salesmen, we're admin, we do all of that. It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Yep. But I'm not trained as a salesman, and I don't know if you are as well. So for us to just talk and our personalities be able to change someone's mind on spending a bit more money as well and have something that they never thought they would want, it's a really rewarding moment. as a business owner as well.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And there's no better way as well from my line of work for what I do is for people to see me face to face.
Yeah,
I can, yourself, you can recommend somebody. You can say, oh, we've got this magician, Matty Evans. Worked with him loads of times. He's fantastic what he does. He's won this award. He's won that award. Brilliant, great. But for me, there is still no better way than seeing somebody face to face, because you then get to know what they physically do, and also you get to see their personality, which I think is is more of an impact than just the tricks. People getting to like you as a person, knowing that you are the perfect fit for their day, and how you're going to perceive yourself and your banter and the way that you deliver things. I think that's just as important as just doing a few tricks.
Yeah. So if you meet people at a wedding fair or face to face and you do a couple of tricks for them, can you gauge there and then what they're going to be like on the day?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, straight away. You know straight away, because there are a few sort of lines that I use, which I class as like cheeky, saucy, if you like, and I leave it sort of like innuendo-y, so you perceive it how you want to perceive it in your own mind, so that I know that when I lose, so when I do say these things, to some people it might just fly over their head, okay, but then I know if you make a thing out of it, or you make something or a comment back, I know instantly what kind of personality that you've got. If you're a bit of a joker and you like the banter, so you can always tell pretty much straight away how people are going to be like once you start talking to them and you start doing things with them. So.
And it makes the day so much better as well, doesn't it, when you're sort of on the same level? Because we use a lot of innuendos as well as videographers, because it breaks the couple down.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people assume that anyone who's a wedding vendor is corporate, and a lot of us aren't. And we're real people, and we just like to have fun as well. So it's nice to sort of break people down before the wedding, so that when you go into it, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Obviously, there may be a little bit of stress. Obviously, it's a wedding day, but
of
that's our job to sort of break that down on the day as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So, has there been any reactions or to a trick that it really stands out to you the most?
Yes, I think twice I've had 2 standing ovations from weddings.
Wow.
Which, exactly that. What a feeling. And you can't top that. You really can't. Which was lovely. I think it's even in one of my reviews where the bride mentioned it in a review, and I think it's even on one of my quotes on my roller banner.
Yeah.
That I used, where she actually said, like, you totally deserved that standing ovation. And as an entertainer, that is just a perfect closer. You see, that's your goodbye. Thank you very much. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. So
it's a very good way of knowing you've done a good job, right?
It is. Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, there's a few ways. Obviously, we know that we've done a good job in the day, and I think the best compliment that I can get is that the couple have booked the best videographer without seeing the video.
Yes.
It's a really, really nice sort of, because it's not all about what comes out of the camera.
No.
It's not all about what the tricks you can do. It's about how you interact with everyone.
Exactly that, yeah.
And obviously it's quite important for you, like your interactions to be, like you said, sharp and hard hitting and stuff like that. How are you able to do that without sort of taking attention away from the bride and groom on the day?
Well, obviously my job on the day is to give everyone the best experience that I possibly can in a magical way. That the couple have booked me to do that. So I don't think it's as if I'm trying to take the limelight away from the couple. They've booked me to do a specific job. They've seen me. I might have been recommended to them. They may have seen me perform before an event, so they know exactly what they're going to get. They're going to know what kind of reactions to get. They know how they felt when they see me for the very first time. Now they want their guests to experience that as well. So that's why they're booking me. I think it's just a case of me of just performing, doing a great job, and for me to leave everybody wowed and speaking highly of me, long after I've sort of finished performing. So which gratefully for me, that consistently happens, which is nice. So yeah.
Cool. So we've obviously worked together quite a lot now. I think we've got a very good working relationship and a good friendship now, I think, as well.
Yeah.
You really, really wind me up. I mean that in the most respectful way possible. We spoke about this a lot. There's a lot of magicians out there, and there's a few tricks that you do as well that I don't know if they're generic or whatever, but I can kind of figure out how to do. Don't get me wrong, I could never ever do them. There's so much skill that goes into it.
Yeah.
But I can figure it out.
Right. Okay.
But there's a few tricks that you've done, and you've done one on me recently, and it really, really grates on me that I can't figure it out. So I think you did a new one on me last time. It was the one on my phone.
Yeah.
You never touched my phone.
No.
You made me search on Google for the top 100 trending things, I believe. And I chose movies, and I chose King Kong. And then we went back onto Google, and my phone started typing it out. It really, I was talking about this trick yesterday to one of my couples, and it really, really irritates me because you never touch my phone.
No.
How do you come up with these tricks?
Well, I can't take credit. I cannot, you know, for any trick that I do, I can't take credit for them. You know, they're not mine. I've not developed them. But what I can take credit for is the performance of them, you know. And going back to what I said earlier, you get a download link. You purchase the tricks. You know, it will come with a tutorial, and then basically you perform it to your performance style. You know, to suit your personality. So yeah, I can't take credit for the tricks, but what I can take credit for is the actual performance, keeping people engaged and wowing everybody. You know, because I know that there are some magicians out there that perform the same tricks as me, and I've heard it in conversations where they say, "Oh yeah, I don't do that trick no more because I just don't get no reaction out of it." And I'm like, "Really? You know, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
People are like blown away by it every single time." But that comes down to, for me, their performance. You know, the way they perform it and the way that they deliver the trick. You know, I'm a big believer that if people like you, it doesn't really matter what you do, they're still going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you've still got to be able to obviously deliver that trick in a manner of making it entertaining for people.
Yeah.
And mind blowing as the best to your ability. So
there's one trick you do, and I think you know what trick I'm going to talk about now. It's the turning receipts into money.
Yeah.
You obviously spoke about keeping people engaged and stuff like that. That trick I've seen you do countless times now. And it's another one that really grated on me for quite a long time because I couldn't figure out how you did it.
Yeah.
But in obviously me watching you try and do it, I'm entertained by what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I figured it out last time. Again, I could never ever do it, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of skill and a lot of talent to do it.
Yeah.
But I learned it. But that's just one out of a ton that you do that I just can't get. So with your job, are there any misconceptions that people may have about wedding magicians in particular?
Yes, children's entertainer, and it's one of my pet hates. So when I get it a lot, especially at wedding fairs, wedding shows, when a couple will walk past, I will stop them on their tracks, say who I am, and then it could be the bride, it could be the groom, whoever it may be. And they'll say, "No, sorry, we don't need the children's entertainer." And I'm like,
no.
whoa, hang on a minute. I'm not a children's entertainer, and I don't do children's magic. You know, that's just not me. You know, there is a completely different.
It's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, exactly. It's a completely different style. You know, and when I've said this to them, and I said, "Look, just give me 30 seconds, a minute of your time," I said, and then make your own assumption. Some people are still adamant they don't want to. That's fine, you know. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the time people will stop, and then I'll do a trick, and then it's like, blimey, weren't expecting that. Do another one, and then I'll make sort of a bit of banter, a bit of light-hearted banter out of the situation. I'm like, well, hang on a minute, just a minute ago you weren't interested. You didn't want to see nothing, you know. I'll do another, you know. So again, going back to changing people's perspectives, you know. It's just nice to being able to have that talent to be able to do that. So which is nice and rewarding as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mate, I think you're far from a children. It must blow children's minds, but I mean, I'm 32 and it still blows my mind. I am a fully grown child, I believe.
Well, and that's nice, you know, and I often hear that as well. I often hear that where people say, "You've made me feel like a child again," you know, but in a good way, you know. It's nice to bring the inner child, because the inner child out of us all. We can all do pranks. You know,
Yeah.
we all like a laugh and a giggle. So it's nice that you do have that effect on people where you can take them back to their childhood, you know, from the very first time that they see magic or they see their favourite film that's very magical, you know, and it's nice to be able to make people feel like that. So yeah, it's
Must be
good.
great to make a grown man go giddy.
Yeah, you'll be fair. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what advice would you give couples that are looking to book a magician?
I would say it's a. I mean, I'm not just saying this because I am a magician. I think it's a very good icebreaker.
Yeah.
It gets people talking, for sure. You know, during your sort of quiet times, especially like your drinks receptions, it's nice to keep because obviously a lot of the guests at that point are sort of standing around.
Yeah.
They're waiting. You know, they've got they're as you know, 'cause that's what you do. But you know, you'll call certain groups up for photos, and then a lot of guests are just standing and milling around. So I think it's a great way of keeping your guests sort of entertained at that
Yeah.
point. And as well, like I mean, I perform a lot during the wedding breakfast as well. You know, it's a great way again, just to instead of leaving them all just sitting there, because a lot of the time you'll have people sitting sitting on tables that they're not necessarily friends, or they don't really know each other, or it could be opposite sort of sides of the family that they've not even met yet.
Yeah.
So, and I think what's nice is that when I go over to them and you perform to them, and if they're all sort of wowed by what you've just done, when you walk away, they all start talking about it, and that sort of brings that table together, you know. So I think it's a really nice way of getting that icebreaker and bringing people together.
I think from a again a videographer's perspective as well, it is great to have something a bit different because not every wedding has a magician.
No,
There's not as many. Like I've shot a lot of weddings this year, and we've not had a lot of magicians. But it is nice to have that something a little bit different in your wedding video, because there's a lot of details that go into that shot as well. Like if you're shuffling cards or
yeah,
playing with coins, there's more shots, and then you get a different sort of reaction out of the crowd, which is lovely to see.
yeah.
There's a lot of just standing around and talking. There's not a lot, not a lot of laughter, but sometimes you just need that bit of push to get that other reaction.
Yeah, and I agree, and like you touched on it there, it is great for photos.
Yeah.
You know, because like you say, you get them reactions, and especially like if you've worked, like you say, you've worked with me quite a lot, and you know the kind of tricks that I do, so you'll know what's coming up. You know when they're going to react,
Yeah.
so you can get that perfect moment. You know, of getting that whether they're like laughing their head off or they're, you know, their whatever reaction may be. And I think when the happy couple look back on the photos and see all them sort of reactions, it's great, and it's a great memory for them to keep for, you know, for one of the biggest days of their lives.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of magicians out there. I think that the last wedding fair we did, I think there was like 5 magicians there. How do you separate yourself from other magicians in the industry?
I'd say what makes me different, I think, is definitely my personality, from a lot of people. You know, my background, I'm not just a magician. I'll class myself as like an all-round entertainer. I mean, I was quite lucky that obviously when I worked for an entertainment complex, one of my best mates used to be a compere and singer and comedian.
Yeah.
And I used to do his sound, 'cause I used to be a sound engineer.
Okay.
So, and I've travelled around the country with him. Like we've been to sort of like all the different comedy clubs. We've been to other different various venues where they've had all like big names on, like comic names on, like your old schools, like your Bobby Davros, your Jim Davidsons, you know, all of those
Love Jim
kind
Davidson.
yeah, all of those sort of old school people. So, for me being in the background, I've picked up so much from the comedy aspects over
Yeah.
the years. So as soon as somebody says something, I'm sort of switched on, you know, and I can, you know, if someone wants to give me a bit of banter, you know, I can just keep going, you
Yeah.
know. But that's purely down to experience and what I've picked up over the years from being on the road at comedy clubs and working with other top comics. You know, as I say, I've just picked up so much material from
Yeah.
that. And I think that's what makes me a little bit different from just standard, just performing tricks.
Yeah.
Because for me, I've always been a big believer that it's entertainment first, magic second.
Yes.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is magicians out there that are far more technically gifted than what I am, but they've got no personality.
Yeah.
So if you've got nothing about you, if you can walk over to a table full of people or a group of people and you've got no personality and you're trying to engage with somebody, then it doesn't matter how good you are, because no one's going to take a blind bit of difference of you anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So I think you still have to have something about you that's to keep that engagement there to the audience you're performing to.
And I think it's great, obviously, the background that you've got with the comedy clubs and the cabaret and stuff like that. But it's not always what you see, because I mean I've never worked for comedy clubs and stuff like that.
No.
But I think I'm pretty good at, again, doing what you do, keep the banter rolling,
Yeah.
quick snappy remarks, and not everyone has that, even if they are rolling around in comedy clubs as well.
Yeah, no. Again, it just comes down to experience, you know. Like I say, you just pick up so much. You see what works, what don't, and also as well with the sign of the times. And in this day and age, you have to be careful with what you say as well.
Yes.
Because you don't want anybody to take anything offensively. You know, you know what yourself. You like when you see stuff on telly now, you have to be very careful. You know, with what you say to people. I never want anyone to take anything the wrong way. I don't want to upset anybody, because it only takes that one bad review.
Yeah.
And although, you know, you could say something to somebody, or even like take the mick out of somebody, and it only takes that one person to find it offensive, and then them to leave a bad review, and then, you know, you just don't want that.
No.
You don't want that as an entertainer, or in any line of work, really.
One bad review can... We've
can,
seen it.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
seen it.
Yeah,
Many
exactly.
people have gone under because of one bad review.
Yeah, it can tarnish you. But the way that I deliver things is, like I said earlier, it's innuendo-y. So I will say something and you perceive it how you want to perceive it in your own mind, so that nothing that I say can be taken offensively.
Yeah.
You know, or taken the wrong way. Because
It's a very fine line.
there is, yeah. And again, I know I keep saying it is the experience, you know, and you only get that kind of,
Yeah.
that you only get that through experience, you know. And I know how far I can push things when I'm in a group of people. And if they're, you know, if they're like a little bit timid or thing, then I know how far I can
Yeah.
go. Whereas if you've got someone in there, you can walk over to a ground of people. If they're effing and blinding and they're all like
know what
really
you can get
loud,
away
blah blah
with.
blah, I know now I can go to that next level.
Yeah.
Because I can, you know, I gauge a room when I'm walking around, I'm performing, I'm always listening, I'm always taking on board what's going on around me. So I think, okay, when I go to that group, I know they're going to be a real good laugh. You know, I know now what I can, and
Yeah.
I know what I can get away with that. So again, as I say, I keep saying it, but it is experience. You know, you only pick up those traits the more you do things.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's amazing to see how similar we have to work, is because I don't think I would class myself as an entertainer, but you do have to entertain people.
yeah,
But again, you've got to read the room. So
Exactly.
obviously with a bride in the morning, if she's stressed but isn't sort of like effing and blinding and whatever, you don't really know whether you can get away with it yet.
No, exactly.
It takes a lot of time to break people down as well.
Yeah.
To know what you can get away with. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you can get lucky and sort of be that big personality and it
Yeah.
sort of breaks the walls down, but
Yeah.
it could go complete haywire.
No, you know, it's like in performance. You know, if you walk over to a group of people and they are effing and blinding, weirdly, in the patter, adding an odd swear word can make the trick seem funnier to
Yeah.
people. It's really weird. But if I go over to people and there's nothing like that at all, then I don't use it.
Yeah.
I just carry on and feel free and just wow them. You know, I don't need to use it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need to use it. And but sometimes adding that element in occasionally, if you're in, like I say, if you're in a drunken crowd and you can hear them effing and blinding, blah blah blah. For some reason, it does make it a little bit funnier
Yeah.
to them to use that odd line in the right situation. You know,
I think that again comes down to like what I mentioned earlier about people thinking that we are corporate.
Yeah.
But we're not. We're just real people.
Yeah, exactly,
And
yeah.
we're our own bosses. So if we swear at someone, it's not going to be the end of the world
No.
for us. So I think once they see that you are a real person, it does break down that situation.
Yeah.
And it can be quite funny as well if it's used in the right context.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mate. It's been great having you on the show. What are your top 3 tips for a couple on their wedding day?
Top 3 tips. Oh, top 3 tips. I would say that if you want a wedding supplier, make sure you get them and book them in early.
Yeah.
You know, there is never, I always hear this a lot from wedding couples saying, "Oh, we're not getting booked. We're not having a wedding till 2 or 3 years down the line." If you want that wedding supplier, I would advise at least booking them in. You
Absolutely.
know, get them booked in, because
They
You know,
go
I mean,
quick.
even with myself, you know, I can get booked 2 or 3 years in advance. So if there's someone or something that you want for your day, all I can say is just make sure you get it booked in
Yeah.
and do it, and enjoy your day as well, because
Yeah.
it goes so fast. You know, there's so much to take in throughout the day. I just think, you know, just try to enjoy it. And I know it's hard because, you know, and it will go just like that, you know, because you'll have all the guests that you're coming up to you, and the time will just fly by. But I think a lot of conversations that I have with wedding couples is like, the day's gone so fast, you know, and it does, you know, it really does. So I think just try to take in as much information, enjoy your day as best as you possibly can. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So before we wrap things up, have you got any other tricks that you want to show us? Anything that's going to wind me up?
Yes. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's do one more for you.
Sharpie's come out. It's going to be a good one.
Yes. Well, it's actually a dry marker pen. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit different, because whereas normally magicians, you would normally wait till the end of the trick to show the reveal, I'm going to show you the reveal at the start.
Intriguing.
So I'm going to show you my prediction. Okay. So my prediction is the 8 of spades.
Okay.
All right. That is my prediction.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I was to ask you to give me a number between 1 and 52, which number would you say?
13.
13. Okay. Unlucky for some, maybe.
Yep.
Now, are you happy with number 13, or do you want to change your mind?
I've not been happy for 10 years, so we'll stick with that.
Okay. Number 13. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 13, Joe, on here. Just like so. Happy?
Yep.
So that is now the prediction.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to take out the cards. Just like so. There's nothing else in the box. All right. And I'm going to deal down straight away to the 13th card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. If you would have said to me 14, Joe, that would have been the 4 of clubs.
Yep.
Okay. If you'd have gone the one before, that would have been the 6 of hearts. In fact, if you would have stopped at any one of these cards, it would have been completely different. But you said to me number 13.
Yep.
All right, okay. I predicted the 8 of spades. How spooky would it be? That is the 8 of spades with your number on, number
That's crazy.
13.
Just to show everyone. And it's even got the yellow mark. That is ridiculous. Magic's real. I'm a believer. Would that trick have gone any differently if I said 7?
I'm glad you didn't say 7, mate, because it wouldn't have bloody worked, mate.
Matt, it's been absolutely amazing having you on the show and learning a bit more about yourself.
Been a pleasure to be a part of it. Thank you for inviting me.
We got 3 cameras on at the moment. Plug anything you've got going on at the moment, personal life, business life, where people can find you.
So people can find me on Tinder, Grinder, anywhere like that. You can. Oh, sorry, we're still talking about weddings.
That's where we met.
Oh, that's where we met. Yeah, that's where we met. Yeah, no, we can. So no, you can find me across all social media. My website is www.mattyevansmagic.co.uk. So feel free to go onto my website. All of my details are all on there. There's a contact form on there for you to fill in if you're interested or you want to make an inquiry. Yeah, that's about it really from the entertainment side of things. So,
and in the next year or two, we're going to see you on World's Strongest Man as well.
You never know, mate. You never know. I've just booked in actually another competition. Obviously, I won the last one that I entered, which was nice and very rewarding. But yeah,
strongest magician in the UK, I think.
You could quite well be right. You could quite well be right. But yeah, so I've entered into another competition, which is up near Sheffield, like Rotherham Way, I think it is. At the end of February, so providing I can stay sort of injury free, I look forward to the next challenge and entering another competition. So,
and will you be posting that update on your social media and stuff like that?
I'll put it up on my social media because there are quite a lot of people that sort of message me and saying like, please keep us updated. We've enjoyed seeing your progress since I started doing it. since the start of the year. So yeah, I will sort of keep it everyone updated really on my social media and that. So yeah.
Well, we'll make sure that you get tagged in everything, and all your social media and website is everywhere we post the podcast. But mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having
Thank
you
you.
on.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we'll be seeing each other soon.
No, don't
Awesome.
doubt it. Thanks, mate.